one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the Democratic National Convention that's going on at the moment. And I assume from listening to you and reading about you that you're probably a fairly political animal. Have you been watching? Have you got any opinions about how it's going?
Well, people perceive me as a political animal, but I just like to think that I'm a human being, man.
Yeah.
I live on this planet, and I think that everything starts with me. Everything starts with you, and then after that, starts with how we treat people, and then it starts with our family. Then it starts with the block we live on. It starts with our neighborhoods, and so maybe that makes me sound a little political. I just care about what happens to people, and I care about what happens to you because I learned a long time ago that, man, what happens to you affects me.
That's true.
And I was one of these kids growing up where, they said, oh, he's bad. He's going to be in prison. He's going to be in this. He's going to be in that. But people invested in me. And when I felt love from people, I started giving back to society, and I stopped, acting like a jerk, basically. And so I think that that makes me very concerned about what's going on, makes me concerned about the amount of propaganda that is so prevalent in our modern society. It makes me concerned about the level of education people are getting, because that affects me.
Right.
The people that I'm ignoring and maybe have a poor education are going to come back and affect me one day. And so, I don't like the word political, but maybe it's just semantics. Maybe it's semantics. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. I mean, we have the same problem here with the whole conspiracy things. The reason that we're back in lockdown is because a family of 4 got discovered in South Auckland with the virus. And so we all did our thing. And
well, good on you.
Yeah, exactly. But right after that, right on Facebook, all these horrible rumors and vicious things about these people that were not true at all suddenly just sprang up. And people are
I'll tell you something. It's exactly why I wrote Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? Because this is exactly what I wrote this album about. I wrote it about this age of information, so-called information.
Right.
And I wrote it about how we are completely inundated on a daily basis with imagery, with misinformation, with, in the United States, a shooting happened in Texas, shooting happened in Louisiana, 16 people got killed, 27 people got killed. And we take that in as if we're ordering coffee. And
right.
I think that there's something very broken about that. And police shootings and African-Americans being shot more than other people. And, this celebrity worship, like the idea that we're raising people in this society now that I think they feel like if they're not somehow famous, that they failed. Mm-hmm. And we have this value system of how many followers do you have? How many likes do you have? And I tell my kids, I'm like, hey, if Hitler had a page right now, he'd have millions of followers.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I mean, it's a horrible way to evaluate humanity. And so, Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? I was really approaching it from a micro level. Like, how does it affect me? How does it affect this guy right here, that I'm looking at? How does it affect my friend? How does my best friend over here, like, why is he cheating on his wife 7 times? And why does she let him? Like, what's going on? Like, that's turning us into these people. And why are we look at social media and we go, okay, let me see what my opinion should be. Okay, I should shout these 3 slogans.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be really entrenched in this kind of dogmatic ideology. And I can't even hear you, man.
Right. Yeah.
I won't even, like, we go to, looking for our education, our opinions, our spiritual convictions on the most fraudulent, inaccurate sources maybe ever in the history of mankind.
There you go.
That's what my album's about.
Yeah, well, I read, I think, a quote somewhere where you said your album, the songs in the album are chiefly about people that you know, and that's where you drew the inspiration for them from. And I was wondering if you
Yes.
can be more specific about that without naming names, of course. But how does that work? How do you draw from the people you know into what makes up the album?
Well, let's start with myself first, because I always feel like you start with yourself.
Sure, sure.
I mean, I feel like a song like Searching for Captain Save a Hoe. We know that word hoe. Well, in this song, I'm the hoe.
Right.
I'm the guy that goes all over the world with a bunch of musicians, and people are like, oh my God, you're amazing. You could have whatever you want. You could have all the women, the drugs, the cars, the money you want, and people call you a hero.
Yeah.
And I think it's a horrible double standard for women if they do it. So I wrote that song just like, how do I deal with this whole concept? And I'm searching for Captain Savo because I'm a bit of a whore.
Yeah.
No, not like I was when I was 20, but I'm a bit of a whore for all this stuff. Like, man, like, give me. And I'm a pretty masculine dude. I mean, like, I'm a man. I believe in being a man. I'm not an apologist, and I'm not really politically correct. I'm like, hey, I'm a fucking man.
Right, right.
And I celebrate that without being a toxic asshole. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I feel like how am I affected by all this information? King Frustration was about like my cousin. She's a dope fiend. She's been a dope fiend for 40 years. Mm-hmm. She's had kids, and she brings these kids from working on the streets, and like the rest of the family has to raise them. And I was writing about her, like I just saw her walking down the street, and I was like, how is she doing in the age of information?
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, I call him the ghetto Woody Allen. He's the most neurotic black dude you'd ever meet, and it's like, how is he surviving in this new paradigm shift that we're in? So that's how it worked. I took friends, people, managers, and I just used them as my topic. Some were like famous people, like I'm So Happy I Cry. It's about these young rappers, a guy named Juice WRLD. A lot of rock and roll stars from the 60s. They have the money, the private jet, the women, the drugs. They have all this stuff, but they're still not happy.
Yeah.
And they're just self-medicating, like looking for this thing. And so that's why because we look at society and it tells us, hey man, how many followers do they have? How many followers do they have? How many likes do they have? And so now that is informing our opinions and our dialogue, and it is sculpting our value system. And I tell you, look around you, we're not really doing that well.
That's true.
And that's why.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, you got All Lives Matter, you got These Lives Matter, and this person's yelling at this person. There's no empathy, no compassion, no understanding, just on a human level. And so you want to fix that.
Yeah.
You fall in love with a Hammond B3.
Right.
And if you can do that, that's going to help navigate you through a lot. And you fall in love with an old bass guitar.
Yeah.
And you fall in love with values. And you remember what grandma said. Man, my grandma lives in my head. Everything she said was right. She was prophetic.
Yeah.
She's an old woman from Southern Virginia. Deep roots, deep rural Southern country black folk roots, and smartest people I've ever met.
There you go. So the album has been out since last Friday. So people have been listening to it. Have any of the people put two and two together and realized that maybe some of these songs are written about them and gotten back to you about it?
Well, I got some interesting calls on your sex is overrated.
Right. Yeah, I'll bet you would.
I got some interesting conversations out of that. And that song was just like a spiritual reckoning. And it's about, how, we use sex as this power, as this tool to get what we want, to get what we need, or what we think we need. So my approach as a producer on that was to, first of all, I recorded it a while ago, but like, you know, I was playing keys, Jamie Gamble on drums, Masa Kohama on the guitar, and I'm like, listen, I got this song, and you're gonna have to watch me for the cues, because there's a very cathartic human interaction when you can get musicians in a room to kind of do this thing.
Right, right.
And so it was a really beautiful song to record, and I think technically some engineers were like, oh, wait a minute, there's too much bleed through. Or the guitar, you can hear it in the drum mics, in the bass line. And I'm like, that was the intention, man. That guitar solo is nasty. That is a nasty guitar solo, and that's, you know, how many people do that anymore? So
right, right.
I was really trying to get in touch with the humanity and the vibrations to make the music do what it's supposed to do. Because Miles Davis already told us, he was like, hey, anybody can play a note. Anybody can play a G or a suspended augmented ninth, whatever. But he's like, I want to meet the motherfucker behind it. Yeah. And I think that's what I do, is that I try to bring the humanity behind the notes in a digital age. In a digital age, I want you to put on my record and feel the humanity, feel the love, feel the pain, feel the happiness, feel the suffering, feel the joy, feel the healing. Hey, guess what? Feel the accountability.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that track up, because to me, the first thing I thought of when I heard the music was this is a man's world. It sounded like it was taken from that and kind of built upon it. And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with what you're thinking of.
Let me tell you something, man. Hey, James Brown, Little Richard, Robert Johnson, David Bowie, Queen, Muddy Waters. I mean, anything great has everything to do with what I'm trying to do, because those are the people that I'm like, that's where the bar is. Yeah. So in some indirect way, hell yes. Every record, Stevie Wonder, all of them. They're all over that, all the records. I mean, these are the people that I idolize and I love, and this is the well that I go to drink. And I feel like, hey, I got to get there. That's where it is, there.
Yeah.
Those are the records. Oh, man, put that on. Oh, my God. Man, Sly Stone, okay, I'm nothing again. Stevie Wonder, damn, I'm zero again. Shit.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Nina Simone, oh, my God, I'm dead. Man, a good Led Zeppelin 2 or 4, oh, my God, start over. You know, Bowie, oh, I think I'm outright. You know, so
yeah.
James Brown, you better start studying again, homie. So I just love all these authentic, amazing, sensational human beings that brought forth such one of the most dynamic eras ever in music, man. That 70s, 60s.
Yeah.
Look out. There's nothing like it. To me,
That's
even
true.
The 70s, to me, I hands down say the 70s is the best. That's my opinion. But,
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, to answer that question, yes, man.
Okay. Very cool. Because the reason I think I actually produced an album back in the day with a bunch of James Brown's people, and we recorded that song with Vicki Anderson singing it, kind of taking the song over from James. And it's just
you know, you're talking about a real singer there, and it was very important to me to bring those elements, man. I did kind of change it because I'd written it once before, and so I took the verses and broke them down. And I wanted it to be a duet between myself and Brittany Howard. Right. That's why I started off, Brittany, I'm so scared of you. But I never got her on there. I was trying to collaborate more on this record. I was able to with Tank from Tank and the Bangers, New Orleans. And of course, the Bay Area legend, E40. But hey, I think I still put some fire and some hot sauce on it.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, and E4 is on the previous song, Searching for I can't read my own writing.
Captain Saberho.
Yeah. So why him? Why you mentioned he's also from the same area you are, but when you actually got together and worked together, how did that work out? What did you talk about?
Well, here's the thing. He already had a song in the 90s called Captain Save-A-Ho. And I wanted to take on that, a take on that. Like, what if Captain Save-A-Ho was a man that had become enlightened?
Right.
And his job was to come and save all of us stupid ass men from our stupid ass men shit. Some of it, it's not all stupid, but I'm saying that would be fascinating to reverse the role and make Captain Sabo this savior of men, kind of. And I thought it was interesting, and it was a good way to confront a lot of my double standards and bullshit. And he is just such the embodiment of unique, different trailblazer, longevity. The guy's been in it 35 years. And it was so different, a lot like me, where people like, oh, I don't know. See, we do rap this way, man. But he's like, no, I do it sideways and upside down.
Right.
How people feel about me with music. They're like, hey, man, you know, you don't even have any 12-bar blues, so I hear all this stuff. And blah, 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 blah. It meant it's soul, but I don't know. It's like, feels like there's too much rock. Let's rock, but it's a little bit too funky. Whereas blues is kind of blues. It's not, them ain't blues. I hear all that shit. So, and I'm very proud of that. I love it. More, please. I love when people go like this. I'd be like, I did it, because I don't think my heroes want me to keep copying what they're doing.
Right.
Get inspired by it. Move it along.
There you go. And when you were rattling off your kind of influences, one of them that you mentioned was Queen. And on These Are My Friends, I have a note written down right at the end of the song. It's like, that sounds like Queen, man. Am I insane or what? So
I was like mixing the Negrito verses with my idea was Queen, this big, yeah, definitely. I love them, and I think they're so innovative and great. And yeah, you know, I try to put some of that in there. Why not?
Cool. Yeah, why not? Exactly. Yeah.
I love to do that. That's what I love doing. I like it to be like, man, what? I want my albums to feel like, man, write albums like the Beatles. You know what? Just have songs. Stop worrying about production and have songs. So I love that concept. And I love the way very early Prince, I'm talking about the Prince in the 80s.
Right.
I love how he approached that. He's like, hey, man, I'm taking this trip. You ready?
Yeah. Because it's interesting. I mean, on a very cursory level, you're described when you see you as a blues guy, and but you know, there's obviously blues in what you do, but that's not what it is. And I'm wondering, when you describe what you do to somebody else, how do you do it?
Hey, first I want to say this: it is what it is, and then I want to say this: it's so easy for me. I'd be like, I play black roots music. Right. And I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. That's a lovely garden to pick from. Black roots, blues, funk, soul, rhythm, alligator shoes, rap, hip hop, barbecue, disco, rock and roll. I mean, jazz. I mean, come on, baby. I mean, it's sweet pudding. I mean, I'm free. I'm a middle-aged guy. I don't have all those hangups. Yeah. Other people I've been free from that a long time. I'm a middle-aged, grown-ass man. So I'm not a pop star. I'm not a rap star. You know, I'm not trying to like be this kind of guy who makes you feel real comfortable. And I'm a 60s soul kind of guy. Sure. Here's my horn section. No. Yeah. I'm coming in with the middle finger and a bouquet of flowers. I'm not here to make people comfortable. My name is not Safe Negrito. Yeah, I gotcha. And also, there's a very punk rock aesthetic to what I do. I mean, I love The Clash, you know, I love Fishbone. I love this old classic punk music, man. And I just love this stuff. And I'm thriving, and I want people to love it. I want people to love themselves, and I want people to thrive. Because when you love yourself, then you're going to treat me better.
Now, you mentioned that you're a middle-aged guy, so obviously, and from talking to you, it seems like you've gone through some changes through your life from where you were to where you are now. And your music has probably done the same thing. This is your third album. What changes, do you change and then your music changes along with you, or does the music change you?
You know what? Probably, I never think about it.
Probably best.
I don't try to get too heady about music. What I try and do is, it's a catharsis. It's extremely organic.
Yeah.
And I may go into the studio with one idea and something else happens, and I let that happen. I let it is what it is. Yeah. I love it to be that way. I don't want to force things and you have to do this. Hey man, if I wanted that, I'd just work a 9 to 5 shit.
Yeah.
I want it to be what it is. And, you know, I'm never going to be a pretty white chick singing pop music. It'll never happen for me, you know? So, you know, I just let it, I'm at peace. I started, you know, this fantastic Negrito thing 5 years ago on the streets. No one thought it could happen.
Right.
And I'm just happy every day and glad to be a contributor and get in the studio and write songs like Chocolate Samurai. I mean, that turns me on, and it's just it's sensational to do songs like King Frustration and These Are My Friends. And I live for this moment to have written these albums, The Last Days of Oakland, Please Don't Be Dead, and now Have You Lost Your Mind Yet? I mean, man, if I wanted anything else, I'd be greedy.
Right, yeah, I hear you.
This is crazy that I get to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the act from the past that you're reminding me most of these days is Funkadelic, actually, and because they were all over the map, you know, but they still had kind of a vision. But you know, there'd be like Maggot Brain, and then there'd be like One Nation Under a Groove, and it's like, what the heck, you know? So
yeah, no, I got that. It's the first. On this record particularly, it's the first time I've heard Funkadelic, and hey, you know what? You know, yes, I'd be like, yeah, I love all that. I mean, somebody told me on my last record that I was the male Patti Smith.
Patti Smith.
You're the male Patti Smith. And what's the other one? They're like, you know what you are? You're the punk rock Al Green, and I'm like,
you can live
I'll
with
take
that.
it all.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's all there.
Obviously, you're not doing live shows at the moment because nobody is. But when you do, what happens?
You know what? I'm not a yearning type of guy. I'm not a guy that misses stuff. Right. I take things as they're happening. Hey, I'm not doing live shows now. Guess what? I'm not doing them.
Yeah.
When I start doing them, then we're going to see what happens.
Okay.
But, you know, I like to bring it hard. I like to bring it heavy. Everybody in the world knows that my shows are like church without the religion. You understand? People know that. So I think that I'm always trying to do things differently. So I'll have a couple surprises, actually. I can't tell you. People will be surprised. I'm going to make some changes, but I like changes because I think each album is different. And this album, the live show, I'm seeing it different from the other ones. So
cool.
We go.
So are you thinking of the next album while you're home and locked down?
Oh man, I've already probably written it already.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm locked down. You know, I'm gonna do another album.
Excellent. And have you ever been down to this part of the world, to New Zealand, Australia?
Australia, I played the Byron Bay Blues Fest twice.
Oh yeah. Well, that's close. Well, thank you very much for taking time to talk to me.
Thank you, man.
I hope things get better over there because, you know, everybody's following what's going on and it affects everybody. So, and we have an election here too coming up next month. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, your president seemed pretty good though.
She is. So we'll see. I think we're pretty confident she's going to be around for a while longer. So that'll be good. But
thank you for your time.
Change is definitely going to come hopefully over there. So
it must.